if our beloved viewers hear a squeaking noise, it's not you and I.
No.
It is my dog playing with her wooba.
A wooba.
Yeah.
It's a super toy for a super hyper dog.
Right. So if you hear that funny noise, that's what it is. Otherwise, she's doing ththings to get my attention, like running off with my cushions or my shoes or
Well,
something.
she likes to sit on my lap when I come over.
I know it.
It must be a soft spot or something.
Well, here we are for another
History Files.
And it is a chilly day.
It's chilly. I think it was 17 below this morning.
Did you? Yeah, well, you're down in the valley.
the
Yeah, I
bottom.
had about 11 below, but, and then we've had some wind up here, so you can't really do much outside when it's that cold. And it takes me 15 minutes to get all my layers on and then, tromp around out there. But, so that's why we're doing another kitchen session.
There we go.
Today. Yes. And we've got some pictures. I'm going to call this is the old made new because there's some old pictures that we're going to be showing.
Okay.
That they're new to my collection. Or
Okay.
whatever
Awesome.
you want to say.
And it's great that we are getting additional photos and people are buzzing. I mean, this is good. We've got the community talking to one another.
People are interested in things like that.
Yes.
And the one we're going to start out with is we have featured it before, but people might have missed it, and it is a great picture because we talked about the Plum Creek Temperance Hall.
Yes.
And then you found this picture. Where did you find it?
I was actually going through a disc that I received, I should say my husband received from some of his cousins. And so I was looking through the pictures and bazinga, it was like, wait a minute.
There's the Temperance Hall.
There's the Temperance Hall.
The only picture I've ever seen of the Temperance Hall. And I haven't found that there ever was another Temperance Hall in this county. Now, if there was and somebody knows about it, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. We'd like to check it out.
And it's a great picture, and I noticed that it seems like it's mainly men or male people in this picture. And a lot of them are young. They look like they're 12, 13 years old and younger. And what I love is the kid in front that is standing on his head.
Oh, look at that. He's upside down, for Pete's sake. They always had one. And weren't parents concerned about their youth hanging out at the Temperance Hall?
Yeah. Now, you would think that they wouldn't be upset if they're youngsters, like they're teenagers, young adults, would be going to the Temperance Hall, to these temperance meetings. But they said it was very controversial because most of the parents who were farming felt like those kids should be at home.
Well, there's always something to do on the farm in those days.
That's right. And so it was, nowadays it seems like, well, that would be just a fine place to send your youngsters.
Well,
right?
definitely. But, if Ma and Pa were driving by, maybe with a horse and a wagon, and your youth is standing on his head while the picture's being taken, maybe that's not something they approved of in the day.
And maybe it was just a good place for young men and women to socialize.
Yes.
Even if they didn't care about temperance. But the programs were usually, they had a speaker that would come and talk about the evils of alcohol and how good it was to be, a non-drinker. And they would have singing. They were temperance type songs. And I would assume most of this was in Norwegian.
Oh, most likely, because I think this was, like in 1930s?
Well, this picture, I think, is probably before that. I think this is probably, maybe 1920s or so. I try to date it by people's clothes and how long women's skirts are. But it's just a great picture. And we were told that the Temperance Hall got torn down, but no, somebody else said it got hauled into Independence.
Oh, okay.
So we don't really know, but this is a picture, if you haven't seen it before, of the Temperance Hall.
Well, and if somebody has any information on it, go to the, give a plug for your Facebook.
You can go to the Trempealeau County Historical Society Facebook page, or you can go to the website, and we've always featured that. You can go there. You can call the TV station. But it was just a fun picture, and I really want to make sure people got a chance to look at this.
And the folks are all dressed up?
Yes, they were. They were. Now, remember, we went up looking for, we drove around the town of Hale. Remember when we did that?
Yes.
And then we were trying to figure out where the North Branch School had been.
Yes.
And we found it was right off of County O, kind of a corner, a four-way.
Right, where you could either go to Strum or continue on towards Osseo or Dead End Road.
Right. And Lynn Nelson came up with a photo of the North Branch School, and it was really a pretty good-sized school.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
Holy cow, there's 6 windows on that one side?
Yeah, plus,
big windows?
It's got an entry, and then it's got something, another room or something off to the side there. So that was a pretty substantial school.
Wow.
But they had a really big amount of kids that were registered for school. Now, again, we say, not everybody was always there.
Right.
But they had a big enrollment.
But if you look at how big that part of the watershed is, there's a lot of territory in the North Branch.
And it didn't take that many families to fill up a school because Lynn Nelson's husband, Mike, his grandfather, Julius, and Matilda, the wife, they had 13 kids.
That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, 9 boys and 4 girls, which whenever I hear that, I think, trying to feed 9 boys. Oh, my God.
Now, did Lynn have any idea when that school... I would assume it eventually just fell asunder and then it was removed.
I guess it was torn down. It was not. It was not hauled off anywhere.
Or repurposed.
They did that lots of times.
Okay.
But this was interesting too. I found this little thing in the paper about the North Branch School getting new playground equipment, basketball, hoops, and swings. But it said this was 1920 that. The pupils, if you didn't have an average of 80, you weren't allowed to play on the new swings and the new apparatus.
Wow, on the new apparatus during the month.
Right.
Wow.
So that was a real incentive, wasn't it?
Get your grades up.
I never saw that before, but I thought, well, that's interesting.
That's an incentive.
And we were just up at Hale at talking to Lynn Nelson.
Yep, about the flying Nelsons.
Yep, the 6 Nelson brothers. And we also made the point that Trempealeau County, up until, the early 50s, was really a hotbed of ski jumping.
Yes, look at this.
Yes, and this is a picture of down in Tamarack. There was a ski jump, scaffold, whatever you call down there. And I think it was kind of down at the mouth of Norway Valley is what I've been able to find out.
Okay, I could see them flying off some of those ridges down there.
Yep, and they would get people over from Winona and all over. It was a big deal. Now, and also, Brian Franzen has a drone, and he's been sending me some wonderful drone pictures that he's taken.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, and this one is the one that he took if you took ski jump road or lane, I guess.
Okay.
Off of right before you go up the hill, and it was the old warming house for the Whitehall ski jump. The big scaffold out there.
We kind of suspected that when we were driving around.
This was the old warming house. So the scaffold itself is not there, but there was still the remnants of being the old warming house.
Yeah,
and I just think the ski jumping thing is so interesting because there just isn't any of it around here anymore. And it's too bad because Trempealeau County really had well,
they were in Strum and Pleasantville and
Pigeon,
Whitehall and Pigeon
Galesville
and Arcadia and Tamarack and
all over.
Oh, this is a beautiful picture.
This is another one that Brian Franzen took, and this is Bruce Valley Lutheran Church.
Oh, we're planning on going out and doing a little ditty on Bruce Valley next summer, aren't we?
When it's not quite so cold.
When it's not so cold.
But this is one he took of the church, and it was recent. It was a 2021 picture. Isn't it beautiful? I mean,
it is.
You see the church and the cemetery behind it and all the hills around there in Bruce Valley.
And now, are they doing a celebration this year?
I know they do a lutefisk dinner
Okay.
in the fall, and of course, with this being the year of COVID, last year I don't think they did. But it was a beautiful church, and it was constructed in 1911, and they had their 50th in 1963.
Okay.
And then it wasn't too much longer after that the congregation got so small that they had to close the church. But it was a beautiful church, and it still is.
And they're very good upkeep.
Yes, and it's up on County D, so if
Yes.
you're taking a drive, it's
Check
gorgeous.
out Bruce Valley.
You bet. This is another picture that Brian Franzen sent me. Now, this was over in Arcadia,
Oh, the mill.
and it's looking kind of southwest, and it's the old Eastside Mill. And there used to be the bridge there, the road went by it. The bridge got hauled off. Somebody bought the bridge, I don't remember who, just recently. Because there used to be the big, mill pond there, and the water power turned the water wheel or whatever they had to make the stones go around. And what's interesting is this was actually, as far as I can find out from old sources, this was the original site of Arcadia.
Oh, okay.
This is where the town really started. There was a man named Collins Bishop, and he was one of the first people there, and they called it Bishop's Mill lots of times. And so that's where Arcadia started out. But then when the train came through,
Yeah, different location.
everybody moved down into the swamp.
It seems to me like when we checked out New City, and when we checked out over by Whitehall, what did they call that? Old Whitehall?
Yes.
And a lot of these towns shifted around when that railway came through.
It was major. It was a
Yes.
major thing. So, and it's interesting now because nowadays we see a lot of building in Arcadia up high and dry where it actually started out. But this is a beautiful shot of the old mill.
If we don't learn from the past, we're doomed to repeat it, Nancy.
That's right. Now this picture is the old North Creek schoolhouse.
Oh, okay.
Down in North Creek. And I don't think they've had classes there since maybe the 50s or
Okay.
early 60s. But again, Brian Franzen was down there. He took this picture of the interior. And if you look, it looks like the blackboards are still up there on the wall. Yeah. And it's got that old-fashioned ceiling where they made it out. It looks like, the fur strips or whatever. It wasn't a very big building, but when you see pictures, class pictures, and all the kids are lined up, they all got them in there somehow.
That's right.
Yeah. And it's still, the school is still there. It's right by the road. But this is the first one I've seen of the interior.
Okay.
Yeah. So I thought that was really a good picture. This was Corporal Valley School.
Okay.
Now, you know where Corporal Valley is.
Yes.
Yep. It's off the River Valley Road that goes between Independence and Arcadia. And this was back on Corporal Valley. I think it was actually on one of the Corporal farms. That was the Corporal Valley School. The little guy in front here in the bib overalls, that was Richie Corporal.
Okay.
Lots of people knew him. They used to have the supper club. Well, after that school was closed, it got hauled into town and it became the office for that Eastside Mill.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And but now this is what's happening to it. It's pretty much going away. It's collapsing.
Becoming back to earth.
Right. Here's another one. I think that's been taken a little bit recently where you see there's the mill on the right and the collapsing school. And I've had some of these pictures on the Facebook and the people are like, oh, I wish we could have preserved it.
I know.
But that's not easy. It takes a lot of money, and then where do you do with it?
And resources and buildings need people.
Yep.
Buildings need people.
Yep, and this is pretty much gone. But that was the Corporal Valley School that people ask what happened to it. Well, there it is.
I think Zip wants to say hello, everybody.
Hello, now get down.
Where's your booba? Where's your booba?
Yeah, go
There
get
we
your-
go. Get your
yeah,
booba.
Find it. This is a picture that Brian took of St. Michael's Church in North Creek.
Oh, that's a beautiful church.
And isn't that a beautiful picture, too? And it's a
Yes.
beautiful church. And it's closed, unfortunately, but they do still have special events there, weddings or funerals. And it had a really big, really active congregation.
Yes.
And this building, the one that was there before burned, but they built this newer one of brick, and I think that was in the 20s.
Okay.
And it's being maintained, but it is a beautiful, beautiful little country church.
Well, and we have a lot of beautiful little country churches
We do.
dotted throughout. I mean, down towards Wamandee, there's some beautiful churches, and over towards in Norway Valley,
Sure.
they've got a beautiful church in Norway Valley.
do.
So yeah, and out towards Ettrick and
Right down the road here, Farganus.
Farganus,
church, you
Pleasantville,
bet.
all over the place.
This is a picture that Vitus Campa has a website, well, not really a website, but a Facebook page called the Salesians of Trempealeau County.
Okay.
And he has some wonderful things on there, clippings and pictures. And I think there's over 900 people that
Oh wow.
are on that page.
Polish power.
You bet. He even has people from Poland submitting things.
Yes.
And I'm not Polish at all, and I think it's fascinating. And they had posted this picture of these 4 ladies with their hats with all the...
Just dig those hats, man.
I know it, with all the flowers and I don't know what else is on them. Bows, vegetables, I don't know. And
They
they're
look
all...
like Carmen Miranda kind of hats.
Yeah, they don't have any bananas on them, I don't
No,
think.
I don't
but
think
still.
bananas.
But they're all wearing, it looks like the same white dress, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
the belts, the collar, everything.
Is that like a wedding party?
I don't know. It didn't have any information. They said that going from left to right here, it was Mary Sluga and Julia Scraw and Jenny Moga and Susie Scraw. So it didn't say what the occasion was. Maybe they were in a wedding or something, but they had those beautiful white dresses
Wow.
and those big hats. Oh,
And you can bet those dresses were homemade and they probably didn't even have patterns.
probably not. But I'm sure the hats, they had to go to a milliner.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
And most towns had milliners.
Yeah.
Ladies that made hats. So she must have had fun pinning all these things
Oh
on
my
them.
goodness, yeah. With tiny little knots.
Down. Will you just go away?
Attention-seeking
Get down.
behavior.
Get down.
Get your
down.
wooba.
Come
Get your
on.
wooba.
Go with something else.
I'm more fun to play with.
Yes, I'm just a stick in
Yes.
the mud. Now this picture was out of the, it was the 50th anniversary, the 1976, as I believe.
The centennial annual.
Right, for independence. And you and I looked at it, and we were trying to figure out where it was taken.
Yes, the orientation,
Right.
it's of independence, but we were trying to figure out which hill, because there's cows.
Right.
We were trying to figure out which hill around Independence this was taken from. Did you
And-
figure it out?
Well, we did. Now, because you look in the background, there's the lake.
Yes.
And then we found the city hall on there, and we found the church. And so we had to figure it would be looking to the northeast,
Yes.
and it would be that hill kind of up behind where the new bank is, I think.
Yes. Growing up, they called that Reservoir Hill.
Okay, it must have been a reservoir up there.
There
then.
was.
Okay.
There was. In the wintertime, we slide on rail sleds.
Yeah.
You had to walk all the way up to the top, and then you could shoot all the way down and almost get as far as Emma Pulser's gas
Oh, really?
station.
I remember there.
Yes, Emma Pulser's gas station.
Did you have to dodge cars?
Well, in those days, that road wasn't all that busy.
Wasn't that much traffic. Huh?
No, and so we always usually tried to stop before the road because otherwise we'd get hollered at.
But this is a great picture. I love some of these, and I'm not sure when this picture was taken. I'm thinking maybe the 20s or 30s
Yeah.
is my guess. And it's just a great old view. I've never seen one of Independence taken from this perspective before.
Right.
But that is a really interesting picture. Now, this other one, we had talked about New City. Remember
Yes.
when we went out to New City this summer looking for New City School?
Yes.
And we found it, but it was kind of covered up by the trees.
Right. We should go back this winter again.
Yes, we
Yes.
should stumble through the snow drifts.
Well, we could probably get it from the road
Yeah,
because it
I'm
leaves
sure.
off the trees.
So this is a picture of the New City kids in 1932. And the little guy on the left end there was Alban Wojcik. And then it was Joe Kuka and Teresa Motzko and Eugene Killian. I mean, there's a lot of local people out there. And that school really had a unique, I don't think I ever saw one in the county that was built quite like this one.
Yeah. It was a beautiful, beautiful school.
Yeah, and that's what it looks like now.
Oh, yeah. There it is.
Yeah, but it had that high-pitched, peaked roof, which was, I don't think I've seen another school that was really built like that. And it had a big, wide front steps, front porch. Remember, we saw that. When we went out there, it was a pretty warm day.
Yeah, it was very hot. Hot and sticky.
Yeah, I think I fell in a ditch or
You
something.
did, because the grass was tall. She couldn't tell how deep it was. And it wasn't a fall. It was more like a controlled landing.
Yes.
Because you just, you fell on the tall grass and
Right.
it just...
Well, we did. But now, I was out there the other day and took this picture.
Okay.
And you can see it more easily now. Yeah. But of course, the roof is coming down and the floor in there has gone away. Yeah. But in its day, that was a really nifty school.
Yeah, and if you go back on that other picture, my grandmother, Mary Elstead, is on there.
Oh, yeah.
She's the teacher.
Right, but she wasn't called Mary Elstead. She was called Mary Jellin.
Yes.
Yep. And, that was that was a good-sized amount of students to take care of in all 8 grades.
Yeah, and she walked from Independence out, so...
So he was in good shape.
Yes.
Yep. So that was New City. Now this picture, I want you to tell me what this is.
Those are snorkels.
Yeah, but they're... This was on the
Is
internet.
it? Are they snorkels?
I have no idea what it is.
Well, it's pre-Mickey Mouse.
Yes.
It's pre-Mickey Mouse. So
I'm pretty sure. I think actually it was on a World War I group.
Oh.
So it was something that it looks like from the uniforms that these were Germans, but I have no idea what they were doing, what this is all about.
Maybe gas masks?
But it's not. Gas masks went over the nose. I mean, the eyes and the nose and the mouth. And this is just, it's like goggles with 2 big, I don't know, Mickey Mouse ears above them. I don't know what on earth that is.
I can't, I have nothing on this topic to contribute.
No, it was a real a mystery. Maybe somebody else will look at this and think, I know what that is. It's, but it is interesting. It's one of those pictures that turns up on the internet and it's like, what the heck was this?
And say, if somebody finds out or knows what that is, let us know.
Yeah, it would be, it'd be fun. I mean, other people were making up things that they thought it were, but we don't really know what they were.
For sure.
Yeah. And Mary and I, we had, if you missed it, we had just gone up into Hale and we did a show on the Flying Nelsons.
Yes.
There were 6 brothers.
Okay.
And the Nelson brothers, and they were like nationally known ski jumpers.
Yeah.
They were really, really good at it. And especially the youngest brother, Joe. I had found some old articles and things. And Joel, it seemed like he was always winning. He was usually in Class C. I don't know how they made that by age, or I don't know how they did that. But he was usually right up in the rankings there if he wasn't winning it. But he was always winning awards for being the most graceful.
Oh.
Just floating down to earth and landing perfectly, I guess.
There's a reason I don't ski jump.
Oh.
I would be like Bugs Bunny rolling down a hill.
And they maybe would have even, some of them would have wound up in the Olympics if it hadn't been for World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah.
World War II changed the course of action for a lot of young
Yes,
men.
it did, especially for the Flying Nelsons, because 4 of them wound up in the service.
Yeah. And gracefully and luckily enough, 4 of them came
They
home.
all came home. That's right. That's probably the wonderful thing about it. But they were out of the town of Hale, and they were nationally known. And I just think that's really something.
Trempealeau County is the home of a lot of famous people.
Yep. And this picture is interesting because it's World War I, and I believe the fellow in the picture was from Galesville. I think his name was Leslie Gilbertson, because I found it with some other pictures of him in
Okay.
World War I. But if you can see, what he's doing is and this picture is taken of him, or maybe it's a friend, but he's standing in a trench. You can see they've got the wicker along the sides. That's what they would
To
do
hold it up.
kind of hold it up. But it looks to me like he is standing in water up to his waist,
Yes.
which was a terrible problem in World War I because they had so much rain.
Yeah.
And these trenches, of course, they didn't drain, and they would fill up with water. And so these guys would be walking and standing
In cold
in
water.
cold water for days at a time. And what would happen is they would get trench foot,
And their feet would get
rotty.
icky.
They
Yeah.
would get rotty. And lots of times they had to have their feet, if they got a bad case of trench foot, they had to have them amputated.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was terrible. So, but look at the amount of water there. It had to have been incredible misery. It's just hard to imagine being something like that, being so miserable.
Oh, I'm going to sneeze. No, it's a tickle.
All right, well, we'll stand back then.
It's a tickle.
So we just have a couple more here, and then I think the timer's going to go off. But
That dastardly timer.
yeah, I know.
Just
it's
when we start having fun.
ticking away,
Bings us out.
People in Independence remember Markham's Castle.
Yes.
They called it that. It was an octagon house.
Yes. Yes.
And that, I guess it got torn down in the 30s.
Okay.
And so it's nothing that you would have ever remembered. No. But it was kind of up on the hill there behind, they've got a new,
New subdivision going
subdivision here. And it was not on top of the hill, it was kind of on the side of the hill. And the Markhams were British, and they are the ones that it says that they actually are the ones that donated the land for St. Peter and Paul
in.
Church.
Yes.
Because the Markhams were so impressed with how hard the Polish people worked.
Really?
Yes, isn't
That's
that
awfully
nice?
generous.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they had a beautiful farm, and it was well noted, and they were kind of movers and shakers. But that house, it was, I think it was like 3 or 4 stories tall. It even had a place on the top where you were supposed to be able to go out and look at the stars.
Oh, wow.
And everything.
Cool.
One of those little interesting things that we don't have in Trempealeau County anymore.
No.
But
An
it's-
observatory.
Right. So, we're going to try to get rid of this dog that seems to want to have an awful lot of attention from
Well,
you.
she says it's cold outside, and if there's company over, then we have to play a little
Yeah,
bit.
and it's fun to chew on you.
Yes.
You're
yes.
real chewable.
I'm a very good dog toy.
Well, I hope that they replay this show like in June, July, or August
Yes.
when it's hot and miserable.
And it will remind us of, I think, when you think about ice cold temperature, it cools you off.
Yeah. I hope. This. Come on in, History Files on it, and it's back in February when it was really cold. This will cool everybody off. So we hope everybody has a really nice remainder of the winter.
That's right.
And we're going to say goodbye from the
History File.